Hmm. Well, it's saying it's connected, so I'm not sure if it's connected to the laptop or to the new microphone. So I do want to test this out. Yeah, I mean the sound here. Let me see. Microphone stereo mix, default headset. Oh, now you hear me? Okay. Do you hear background noise, or does it sound a little bit different, or do you hear like a fan going on in the background? Either way, I'm gonna. As long as I have audio, it's fine. I'm just trying out this new microphone, but I'm not sure if it's picking up the microphone from the um, laptop or from the actual receiver here. Test, test, test. Oh, here we go. Microphone, okay. Headset. Um, yeah. If anything, if the audio keeps cutting out, I'm just gonna I'm gonna take this out. Um, and just use the laptop one. It's okay. It's not gonna. It'll be fine. Like if I just don't use this one, it'd be nice if I could test that out for this live stream. But pretty much, I want to jump into it. One of the first no body cases here in California. Um, can you hear me now? Yeah, I'm talking. I mean, if it's not on the test, test, test. Sorry, sorry about that. Here we go. Microphone. All right, let me welcome everybody in. Thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate it. Native Girl is here. Hi, Native Girl. How you doing? Louise is here. Jen is here. Mark is here. Mark the Shark is here. Oh, that's cool. Let's see who else is here. Who else? Who else? Dandy. Hey, Dandy. Good to see you. Mustang. Good to see you. Louise. Good to see you. Cindy. Good to see you. Dandy says her ears are gone now. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I know. Thanks everybody for just being patient. Yeah, the chat shows up on here. It's just on it's like a different program. Like the thing if I put the chat on like this, it like takes up the whole screen. It'll load in a second. See, like that. I don't know. Do you guys like that? I can leave it on like that. I really just not. Sorry. I mean, is there a way to turn down the volume on this? I don't know. Maybe that'll help. I'll whisper. I'm sorry. So sorry. But yeah. So this case, let me jump right into it. This will be a quick live, just so I can we have a just some form of background and history of California law with no body convictions, because as the lawyers, the defense lawyers, they try to get cute when it comes to cases. Try to if they go, if there's no body, no crime, no crime. That's how they talk. Like, okay, no body, no crime. They try to be cute about it, but same with like the glove. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. No, no, no. We can see you, Cindy. We can see you. I can see your messages. Here, I'll show it up here. It's just I'm not putting them on the screen. See, like that. See, you're right there. I mean, I'll just leave it like that. It's fine. That way, you guys can see if anything happens. And sometimes, what happens if you put all, it's called like all. If you put all messages or something like that, then it's a lot better. Yeah, but we see you. And so, how this relates to what we're going to talk, with the Jake and Rebecca Harrow case, it it's going to tie in together. And I want everybody, when the evidence comes out, is to to kind of see and expect what we might see. It's the no, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and it's just so much out there with this. And you look back at the history, and from that case to now. Well, yeah, I mean they have prosecuted before, but this one was more of what was out there. It kind of changed the course for it, and also this was a more out there case. But there has been other cases like that too, yeah, for sure. And so I wanted to focus on this one because it did change like how things came out. So yeah, appreciate that, Carolina. Appreciate that. There has been no body cases too, but that have not been prosecuted. So this is what I found. This is one that has, this is just what I found. So I mean, I'll look deeper into it, and I appreciate that. So I mean, if you want to put like your resources or anything on chat, that I mean, I'd appreciate that. I'm not above being wrong or whatnot, but I did wanted to cover this case because it was something that was did make nobody crimes more prosecutable because of there was nobody. So yeah. Yeah, I mean this was in like 1955. This happened in 1955. Um, and that's what my research led me to it. As in 1955, it's what changed everything. It was changing things. Yeah, there has been other crimes without bodies that weren't prosecuted. Again, I'll listen to that and I'll figure it out. But as of now, I'll go over this and yeah. The thing is, I want to go over this and how the process is because from what we're seeing from the Jake and Harold case, we're seeing that it's going to be a nobody. Uh, uh, there's no body, right? So it's going to be interesting that we'll see this and we'll kind of get an idea of what might happen in the trial, in the where they present evidence and things like that. Yeah, be respectful. Just if you have something to say, just say it in an elegant way. Or also my mods, they'll just kick you out. I don't have time for that kind of stuff in here, and I don't need you, and we don't need that in here too. If you have something to say, just say it elegantly. Like, hey, check this one out. When you have time and things like that. Again, I'm not above being wrong, but I do want to cover this case, and this case was in 1955. So let me go over my notes, and I want to pull up a picture because like a video where this was in Los Angeles, in LA. So I want to bring up a video about let me see, and also this is in California, the first one in California. Okay. There is a video of 1955 in the area of Los Angeles, so I kind of want to just set the scene too, and I'm gonna share my screen for that too. Um, so just give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Uh, Let me share my screen. So 1955. Yeah, but the way you say it, though, you said it. That's a lie. I mean, come on now. You know, again, I'm not gonna tolerate things like that in the chat, and it's just disrespectful, and it's disruptive too. All right. So yeah, that's LA right there, 1955. So it just kind of set the scene. That's pretty interesting. There's like a lot of the black and white pictures, videos have been turned into color, so it's pretty interesting. We normally see it in black and white, but when it's in color, it's like a different vibe too when you see it that way. So I kind of want to just show you that, just to kind of set the scene. in 1950 when this happened. So let me just look over my notes, and I want to go over a little bit more of this too. Yeah, 1950s Los Angeles. This is another one right here. It's pretty interesting stuff, like archive video. Credit to this channel. It's called History Color. So that's just kind of setting the scene a little bit. And let me go over my notes. So pretty much that is, that California requires proof how they handle it. It's so that doesn't really mean that there's a court. It just means that's proof that a death occurred due to criminal. See, there's a lot of legal language and things like that in the law that you don't need a body to convict, as we've seen. In certain cases. Slow mode, yeah, it's on. Let me change that. 1 second. Yeah, it's all good. No worries. No worries. Sometimes when I'm doing something and I'm looking at chat and doing this, so I appreciate that. You coming back with saying what you're saying, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming in. Hit the like, sub, and share. I'm just going over this right here. So it has to do with the Evelyn. Her name is Evelyn Scott, and she was a wealthy woman. Um, that was yeah. Let me change that 1 second. Or native girl, can you change that into 0? Let's try that. For slow mode, just put it to 0. Yeah, it's all good. No worries. Water under the bridge. Let's see. So yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So her name was Evelyn Scott, and she was. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that, native girl. Thank you so much. And so pretty much, she's wealth. She was wealthy, and she was married to Leonard Scott. Um, hey, ancient drummer, good to see you. Um, and so the thing with her is with her husband and uh, her body has never been found. This was in 1955, her disappearance, and later he was convicted of second-degree murder, and how how the prosecution got there is very interesting. We'll go over that too, and you're gonna see similarities that what recently in the presser for what the DA was saying was something similar to to what this case is shadowing. So I think we're going to see something similar too in the Jake and Harold case with this. And so some of the key facts about this is with her her husband Robert Leonard Scott. The guy was a little slime ball. He was a little conniving guy, little weasel. And so she vanished in 1955 in L.A., Los Angeles, and the defendant was her husband, Robert Leonard Scott. So one of the things that happened with this is that he gave, um, he gave conflicting stories about her whereabouts, right? He was claiming, okay, she went on trips, she had health issues, um, she's not around, she's not feeling good, right? Like, why aren't we seeing her? Does that sound familiar now? Um, and so her body was never found. So the prosecutors built the case entirely on circumstantial evidence, um, and a financial motive, consistencies in her story, and proof she could not have just simply left. That's the same thing that the district attorney in the Jake and Harold was saying, that baby Emmanuel isn't just going to walk out the door and leave. Hey, Sharon, good to see you. Welcome in. And so that's what, in this case, in 1955, of Evelyn Scott is what it's what the prosecution built it on a bunch of circumstantial evidence. Um, and so that's what I believe too, is that that's what's going to happen too, is with this case it's gonna rely on a lot of circumstantial cases as evidence. Even though the body of Emmanuel isn't found, the DA has also said that there's a lot of witnesses. And with this too, we'll see in a minute that there was a lot of witnesses that came forward about her disappearance that weren't adding up to the story, to Robert Scott's story, the husband of Evelyn. So again, this was in 1959. So he was convicted of second-degree murder. So even though her remains have never been found, and so the significance here is this was this was California's first successful no-body murder conviction. So proving that it is possible to get a grand jury verdict without a corpse, without a body. That's what my research is saying. One of the first ones in California to be a successful no-body murder conviction. Murder conviction. Okay. And I think that's on my thumbnail too. So I'll have to double check. Um, so yeah, so this was in 1955 to 1959. And so a little backstory of Evelyn Scott. She was a wealthy person, and she inherited over $600,000 in 1950. So you can only imagine how much money that is. I mean, that's got to be a couple million nowadays. Um, 600,000, inheriting that much money in 1950. That's gonna attract certain characters around you, and that's what this guy, weaseled his way into her life because of that, because of her money, because of her financial stability. So in May of 1955, that's when she vanished from her Los Angeles mansion. I believe it was like in Beverly Hills or something like that. So Robert had claimed that she had gone for medical treatment or on trips. That's what he's saying. She's on treatment. She's going on trips. And giving different stories to different people. So friends and family, they finally grew suspicious. Evelyn has been close to them and never just disappeared. And that's another thing too, is like your day to day activities, your day to day contacts, your day to day communications with family and friends. Um, yeah, that is a lot back then. And so That's the thing. Inconsistent stories with the Jake and Harold case. What did we hear? That Rebecca, once she was telling her story, and then got confronted with conflicting evidence, she climbed up and then got lawyered up. Inconsistency. So this is what the district attorney, in my opinion, are going to base their evidence on is inconsistencies in their stories, inconsistencies in witnesses and what they're saying, things like that, things of that nature. So so we move on to the that's a little backstory. And so what the investigation happens, it's the police discovered that Evelyn's finances were being drained after she disappeared. Her finances were being drained uh, quickly because this guy was just blowing her money away. Um, so this guy Robert, so he continues to spend lavishly, cars, trips, gambling, using all her money up while she's disappeared. So it doesn't sound like he's too concerned about her disappearance. I mean, we see that in certain cases, right, where the parents or person or someone um, isn't gonna, they're not out there searching, they're not out there pleading help or things like that. So it raises eyebrows. It doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty, but it adds to the evidence, the circumstantial evidence. That's just one part of it. If it was just that part where you're just like, you're just in a depression mode, you don't want to see people, you don't want to talk to the public, but there's other aspects of your life that are the same, then that's not really too suspicious. But when you add it all up, it becomes circumstantial evidence presented to the judge, presented to the jury, and this is what happened right here in 1955. So the trial. So we move on to the trial. That's my guess too. That's my guess too. Is that they have a lot, and from what the DA was saying, and as we're seeing this, I kind of want to go back and forth to kind of go from the past to the present, the past to the present, the past to the present, so we can form this picture in our heads about what may happen in this case coming up. Because there's going to be some evidence, and you better believe that I'm going to be there to witness that. There's going to be a lot. There's a lot of questions we have. There's going to be a lot of evidence that the PA said. They're not going to present all of it, but they have to present enough to say to the judge, look, move forward with this case. We have enough evidence, and then the judge decides, you know, what um, what they go from there. So the trial starts in 1959, and the prosecution, they leaned on a lot of circumstantial evidence. So Evelyn, when she disappeared, she completely cut off contact, was out of her character. That's a big thing. Is when, say for example, I go hiking every other day, almost every day, and then all of a sudden I'm not hiking. It's like, wait, what happened? There's something must have happened, right? Or maybe I'm taking a break. But if I say I'm taking a break, I'm taking a break. But if nothing comes up or something, there's something there to that, right? Your character, it's out of character, it's out of place, it's out of your schedule. I'm not calling people, right? Or if I go out there and I disappear, I don't come back, right? It's just out of character. So things like that. And then also with Robert, the husband, he was inconsistent. With his explanation. So those raised red flags. Same with the Haro case. The DA was saying, LD was saying that there was inconsistencies with their stories. Of what we saw too about like the kidnapping, and that's why they got charged also not only with murder but filing a false report. That's in there too. Mm. So the defense. So we're at the trial state in 1959, and the defense argued no body, no crime. They're trying to be cute. No body, no crime, and things like that. Little catchy phrases to make the jury kind of let it stick. Something that rhymes, something that's catchy. Same with like if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Things like that. So that's what the defense was doing. That's what the strategy. And before that, that's what happened. No body, no crime. So they suggested that she might have just left, and probably is still alive somewhere. That's the defense's theory. I mean, Come on now. Come on. Um, and so same with the Jake and Harold case with baby Emmanuel. He's not just going to leave the house, take his backpack, take a water bottle, and go and leave, and he's alive somewhere. That didn't happen. That's not going to happen. He's not just, and that's what the DA was saying. Like he's not just going to walk out the door and leave. He's alive somewhere. No, it's not realistic. When it comes to this kind of stuff, it's just not. It's we're kind of seeing similarities here. That's what the defense is saying, and so I think that's what we're seeing here too. It's like from the prosecution standpoint. So we move on to the verdict and the sentence. Here we see that Robert Scott in 1959 was convicted of second-degree murder. So he was sentenced to life in prison, making him the first person in California history to be convicted of murder without the victim's body ever being found. So he served many years and was eventually paroled in 1970. He was eventually paroled out. But, why does this case matter? It set a legal precedent in California. It provided juries, proving to juries that, that they could be persuaded in a body prosecution. It showed prosecutors that strong circumstantial evidence, especially financial and behavior, could overcome the absence of physical remains. So that's very important. Financial and behavior. I don't know. I mean, drop a comment. I don't know if there's any financial gain in the Emmanuel case. I don't see it. I haven't seen any. I mean, I wouldn't get past it. I wouldn't uh, throw it to the side. But that's interesting, right? Because what we know of Jake is that he would do a lot of fraud, like workers' comp. A lot of fraud for what? For financial gain. So that was interesting. That kind of stood out for me a little bit, but I'm not too sure what their financial gain would be from that. You know, so that was pretty interesting. Um, hey, Mama Mia, welcome in, welcome in. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hit the like, guys. I appreciate it. Let me grab some water. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you so much. I wanted to go over. I mean, there's a good book on this that I was kind of reading the side notes of it. I might get it. I mean, I should get it, for more research because it gives an account of like what happened, his statements and things like that. And I guess throughout the book, he's denying it. He's denying it, and later on, he admits to it. He's like about 80 years old, and he's like, "What do I got to lose?" And so he starts admitting to the crime. Up until that point, he was like, "I'm innocent. I'm innocent." And so that just proves like the DA, the LE was in the right direction this whole time, regardless if there was no body, and they still haven't found the body. He said later on, he said that he had buried her somewhere in the desert of Las Vegas, and so investigators they only found like glasses and dentures. Excuse me. They only found glasses and dentures in her house. So that was interesting. And they also found like underwear that was burned. And his excuse for burning that in an incinerator was saying that, hey, True Crime Girl, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Was that he burned the underwear because they smelled bad. I mean, come on, things like that. It's like these people are just incredible sometimes. We need their explanations. Same with the Jake and Harold case. Someone came up to me, said "Hola," and then punched me. I blacked out. I saw white. Some of these explanations are just not believable. Um, So yeah, we went over kind of the timeline of things, and and so the evidence and the strategy is very important when you come into this because it's heavy circumstantial evidence, and as we've seen from past cases, that circumstantial evidence weighs heavy when it's combined with other circumstantial evidence. On its face alone, it's nothing. But when you start stacking it up, start stacking it up, start stacking it up, it's undeniable. It's hard to dismiss. Like the Richard Allen case, there's so much evidence in there. The bullet, the time, the witnesses, him boxing himself into the bridge, him boxing himself into the timeline, the witnesses boxing him in the head, him describing the witnesses describing him. Um, things like that, and the bullet in there that matches his bullet from Mark's, things like that. I mean, it just all adds up. His interrogations, his explanations, his change of story, him telling his wife, like, I wasn't at the bridge. I didn't tell you that. I told you. And then he promises and says, I love you. You know, if it was just one thing, fine, you know, but it's all these circumstantial evidence that just stacks up and stacks up and stacks up and stacks up. And there's nobody else to blame in the end but that guy. So yeah, so the outcome, he was convicted of second-degree murder in 1959. He was sentenced to life in prison. He was paroled in the late 1970s. He got out, and it's known as California's first successful no-body murder conviction in California. So that was pretty interesting. A little back history in California on cases of no-body murder convictions. Um, no body, no crime was a common belief back then. And this case proved otherwise. So the president of this case, it paved the way for modern no body cases in California. And there's many examples, and I do want to go over those sometime in the near future, and maybe I can make this into a series. Um, you know, from then on, certain cases and things like that, and cover them, especially because it is in California. The case coming up most likely is going to be a nobody crime, a nobody murder case, because they haven't still found the body, and my North body. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that you could convict somebody without a body? Does financial motive alone convince you of guilt? And would you believe the DA or would you believe the side of the husband's story? Those are some questions, right, that I have for you, chat. Would you convict someone without a body? Would you convict them based on financial motive? And would you believe the husband or would you believe the DA? I want to go over the witnesses because the DA in the Judy Carl case did say that they said we have a lot of witnesses, and I think that's going to be pretty interesting too, what the witnesses are saying. So I want to take some notes here. Yeah, for sure, ancient drama, for sure. Yeah, I just kind of want to engage everybody and have everybody be part of the conversation. So thank you, appreciate that, appreciate everybody coming in, being respectful in chat. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Um, so I want to go over my notes where some of the neighbors were talking and gave some uh, testimonies. Let me see if I can find it. I had a lot of notes on this. Just give me 1 second and grab some water while I look for this. So, this way I can find it and grab some water. It's like putting the puzzle together. Let me just catch up on chat. Yeah, no body, no crime shifting for sure. Yeah, I agree with that too. But back then it's like they try to be they try to come up with like they try to be no body, no crime. If the glove doesn't fit, you must quit. Just catch up on chat real quick. Absolutely correct. 100% worth mean things. Attorneys, prisons for sharing evidence case with smart people. Oh, thank you so much, Glenn. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in and joining us. Yeah, welcome, Carolina. Let's see. Yeah, they do have a lot of. That's what I believe too. Um, it's in my notes somewhere, but the gist of it, it's pretty much saying. Uh, so one of the examples that I saw was that the husband Robert was saying that she was sick and she didn't feel good, and she was going through this or that or the other, and they talked to the neighbor, and the neighbor's like, no, she's been good. She's a healthy woman, even though she was like 67, 63. He was like, no, she's good. She's in good health. I mean, they talked to another one off the top of my head was they talked to like her doctor, her physician. How was her health? How was she doing? And they're like, it was good. It was great. So things like that, where he's saying one thing, like, no, she's just feeling bad. She has depression. She has this. She probably just left. But then they talk to like professionals and people around her life that are like, no, we saw her and was looking good and was looking fine. She's not just going to leave, right? Without telling somebody. We hear that a lot. They're not going to leave without telling us. And so I think with this case too, because maybe Emmanuel hasn't been seen in a while in that period of time. And before, when he was seen, I think, in my opinion, because the DA was saying that he'd succumbed to his injuries, right? He died of his injuries. So they have evidence. We don't know that evidence. They have it. They're keeping it tightly sealed for good reason. They don't want to mess this thing up. And so I believe that there's going to be witnesses that come forward that maybe Jake and Rebecca, and this is just speculation, this is just my opinion. We don't know. We don't know anything right now other than the false police reporting and that they're charged with murder. And Manuel's body hasn't been found. We know the history of the dad, of how, a precious a promise, I'm sorry. And so we see those those things are known. Those things are facts. We can go off of that. And they talk to the neighbors, and so what I believe is that they are going to talk to family members, friends, and they're going to might be saying, okay, we saw baby Manuelito. He was always sick. He had bruises. His eyes, he always looked tired, this or the other. He wasn't feeding. I've never seen her feeding him. We could see maybe something like that. I'm guessing, I'm speculating. It's just my opinion. Maybe we would see something like that from witnesses that they're saying they saw baby Emmanuel in a certain state of decline. So, um, and so on their end, right? This is kind of like the reverse. On their end, they could be saying, Jake and Rebecca could be saying, no, he's been great, he's good, he's healthy, he's this, he's laughing. But then when family members see the baby Emmanuel, maybe he's not smiling, maybe he's not eating, maybe he's not drinking water or whatever. So I think in this case, it's the opposite, right? Maybe Jake and Rebecca are saying, he's good, he's healthy, he's great, he's playing, he's, he's all good. So I think maybe that would be one factor it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. what the DA has to bring forward to the judge. And I'm going to be there September 17th to try to witness it. I'm not going to let people cut me like the first time. The second time I made a scene twice. People were trying to cut me in line. I was the first one there. They gave us numbers, and there was more seating this time around. So when I got there, there was these two ladies trying to cut me, and trying to not only cut me, but trying to cut everybody else. I said, no, there's no way. The line is back there. The deputy's like, okay, well, that's okay. Form a line here where they had cut. I said, no way. Mm-mm. No way, Jose. You go to the back of the line. We were here first since the morning. I've been here since, woke up at 3 in the morning to come here, and I waited in line. So, no. Well, the other deputy told me the line starts here, and that's where the line is. So, no, I'm not going to move over there. I'm not going to move the line over there. We've been waiting. And so I'm seeing, and then the deputy's like, "Oh, my bad, my bad. I didn't know that. I didn't know." I'm like, "No, it's okay. It's just we've been here since the morning. It's not fair for somebody to come in, two people to take the spots, and at the time we didn't know how many spots were going to be there. Last time, the first time around, there were just like I don't know, 6 spots. I mean, just it wasn't a lot of spots. This time there was for whatever reason. Someone explained to it, but I just wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention to some notes, but and so this other guy before those two ladies came to and was like, he was like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And he just cut everybody in line to the front of the line, and we're like, "What the heck? What are you doing?" Like, I get that you're here for the case, but I call him out. I say, "You know what, man? We've been here," and I said it nicely too because I didn't want to come across yelling or anything like that. The girls, yeah, I did make a scene because it was the second time around. And that was before we knew there was more seating. So when the guy comes strolling in and just starts cutting everybody and just starts shooting the shit with us, we're like, "Are you cutting?" Someone, "Hey, Nitaka, welcome in." And we're like, "Are you cutting or what's going on?" And so I look at him. I'm like, "You know what, man? We've been here since the morning. The line starts over there." He sits down. I'm like, "Dude, I'm not gonna. I'm just not. I don't care who it is. I don't care if Obama walks through that door and tries to cut. I don't care. um, you have to go over there. It starts over there." He's like, "Okay, I understand. No worries." And so I thought he was going to move, and he just sits there. He's trying to shoot the shit with everybody, trying to be part of the group, and so he gets ignored. So later we find out that there's going to be more room, more seating for people to go into the courtroom. And I start counting the people there, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, everybody's going to get in. Everybody's going to get in the courtroom. I think we're good. I think everybody's good. There might be late people that come in that aren't going to be able to get in, but that's fine. We've been waiting. We're good." And so I go up to him and I go, "Hey," and I say, "You know what? I'm so sorry that I said that. That was before we knew there was a lot of numbers. I apologize to him and said, I'm so sorry if it came across a certain way or not. But we've been here since the morning. We haven't ate. People were cutting in last time. You remember last time it was a stampede. They were pushing the deputies." And he's like, "No, no, you're all good. You're good. You're good. I get it. I get it." I'm like, "I know. I appreciate that, but I want to let you know that, my bad too. I want you to let you know that, like, my bad." And we started talking after that and we got along. So the guy was pretty cool too. And I thought that was pretty adult of us to kind of just go from there. And yeah, we were just talking afterwards, like nothing, talking about the case and things like that. So I'll probably see him next time around, um, and probably we'll hang out. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like it's first come first serve. And the first time around when I went there for the Jake and Harold case, and uh, it was it was a mess. It was a shit show. We got there early. A lot of people got there early that didn't get to go in, and it was messed up. It was just messed up. You know, me being the night person because that was my first time being there as as in a courtroom hearing in a high profile case. I mean, I've been to go to court, asking them and it's not nothing, not even remotely like that. And I base my I base my experience just on when I was in high school and I went to go and do some research for my government class. I go in the courtroom. It's huge. I mean, it's like a cathedral in there. And so I'm having the same mentality when I go in here, which was dumb. And I'm like, there's going to be a lot of seating. I'm not going to push. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Let's be civil. Fine. I go in there. People are pushing and shoving, and they're shoving the deputies. The deputies are like, back up, yelling at everybody. And so, they're like, okay, and you go inside. And then they just kept pushing people that were there early out of the line. He wasn't even on the line. So this time around, I told myself, you know what? I don't care what it is, who it is. I don't care who you are. You're not going to cut me. I'm going to be first in line, and I'm going to say something. And I did. And I got, and because of that, I got to have a good seat in the courtroom. I got to see Jake, and I got to see Rebecca, both of them. A lot of people weren't even able to see Jake because the two public defenders were. He was in the corner, and so they were like blocking his view too. They were next to him, and same with Rebecca. Her lawyer was blocking um, her, but because I got a good seat, I was fortunate enough to see them both and things like that. And it was a wild experience. You can check out like the last videos that I went over as fresh as I came out of the courtroom and things like that about my experience. And I also went on allegedly speculating's channel. If you don't know her, check her out. She's got a cool channel. Um, I was on there, and at the 27 mark of one of her videos, it's on. It's in one of my posts. You can check her out. You can check out in detail. I go into detail more about my experience, and if you like, after the stream. Um, but yeah, that's one of the reasons I get it. Yeah, it's just only the first people get to go in, definitely, and as they should. But I think the structure of it, having lines, having numbers, would just create a better environment. That's what they did this time around. They had more seating too, and I think after we found out, everybody started kind of cooling out. They started to kind of just relax a little bit more. A lot of people, got moved to 10:30, so a lot of people were want to get lunch and things like that, coffee, bathroom break. So that was good, and I hope next time I go, I think hopefully they do something like that too. And it was funny because they gave us numbers in like in a um, in a cardboard monster. The case, the 24 case pack of a monster. The cardboard box that comes in it. They cut that and put our numbers on it. But yeah, we kind of went back and forth with this case, with the Evelyn Scott case. It's one of the cases that kind of changed things around with the no body uh, convictions, and yeah, I think we're going to see something similar like that too here because the body hasn't been found. So I wanted to go over that. I wanted to jump back and forth in the past to the present and the future, um, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting what they have to present. I mean, I'm really just um, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what evidence they have. Nobody knows. Nobody. And so it's gonna be interesting. So right after that, I'm gonna go live. So make sure you guys sub up. Make sure you guys hit all notifications. September 16th and 17th. 16th is gonna be like it's gonna be like a conference. It's gonna be where they gather each other up, and I think maybe they could come to an agreement is what the process is. And I know somebody mentioned that. Um, the DA isn't interested in a plea deal, which they said, yeah, for sure. That's what they said. And could things change? Could things change from that press conference to September 16th, 17th? 17th? I don't know. But they're going to go over some housekeeping the date, and on the 17th is when they're going to present the evidence too. So right after that, I mean, I'm going to go live as fresh as it's going to be. And I'm trying to get better at taking notes while I'm in it and trying to get like the key things, but at the same time, yeah, the numbers. That's wild. I think so too, and I hope so too, because it's only fair for what people were there. You could tell when you're there, and you're there because of Baby and Manuel. You want to see justice. You want to see the justice through. And then there's like other people there that just go there just to go for the novelty of it. I'm not there for that. I'm there because it's heartbreaking. What we know so far is heartbreaking. I can't even imagine what we don't know right now, right? I can't even fathom what the DA has because this is going to be heavy circumstantial evidence, timelines, alibis, witnesses, digital evidence, GPS maybe. I mean, they said they have a lot of witnesses, and as we saw from the case over here with the Evelyn case, is witnesses. Her husband was saying, okay, she's not feeling good, she's sick, but then her doctors, I was like, no, we just saw her, she looks great. Her friends are saying so conflicting stories. Same with the Jake and Rebecca story, right? Kidnapping, abduction, baby abduction. Somebody said Ola, this and that. And so when Ellie was presenting conflicting evidence, she comes up. So that's you see the similarities with that. So that's the style. That's the style that it's going to be moving forward, in my opinion. The only thing that kind of I did want to touch up too on the Jake and Rebecca case is that I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little not concerned, but I'm a little, how do you say it? Let me put it this way. It's interesting what Rebecca, the murder charge, what they have, because they charged her with murder, right? I mean, we see past evidence from Jake. Um, we see his history, right? We don't have um, a clear picture with Rebecca, but they did charge her with murder. So that tells me they have evidence of that. Was she part of it? Was she also um, complicit with his injuries? And what evidence do they have? Because she did get charged with murder. What we do know is that she did file a fake police report. That's also in one of her charges. I think that one is going to stick. The murder charge, again, the evidence will show what they have for that. And so, I mean, I'm mind blown right now. What is going to come out? I'm mind blown without even hearing it because you know, we hear this all the time with cases, right? We have our opinions, we have our speculations, but then when the evidence comes out, we're like, holy shit, wow, like, okay, now I get it. Now we start piecing the pieces together. Now we start, the puzzle starts to, somebody else mentioned earlier, it starts to form, and we're like, okay, yeah, I get it now. Okay, here we go, and then things move forward. But before that, it's hard to kind of fill in the gaps. It's really hard to fill in what the inconsistencies are specifically in the Taken Harold case. It's hard to fill in the gaps with what the witnesses are saying. Um, did they? When was the last time he was seen? What was his condition? He was last seen, and what were the heroes saying in that time, in that period of time. Oh, he's good. Oh, he's healthy. Oh, he's smiling. Oh, he's great. But then if family members or people or witnesses come forward and say, no, we've never seen him. Or every time we've seen him, he's always crying. He's got bruises. He's got this. He's got that. This is all speculation, obviously, because I don't know. I'm just speculating, talking, opinionating, and stuff like that before the court date. So that's going to be real interesting. That's going to be something to look out for. And yeah, until then, I mean, good luck. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today. I did want to go over that. We did go over a lot. And we'll just kind of hang out for a second. And yeah, so I'll hopefully um, would like to make this into a series of no body convictions in California specifically, because this is where the case is. Yeah, so I want to just focus on that without having to bounce around too much. So I mean, there's a lot of good cases, and yeah, I think maybe this one went better than expected. I mean, this was one of my first ones covering that it wasn't a Jake and Harold case, but that had a connection to it, and I kind of want to keep the same vibe. I don't want to branch out too much. I don't want to keep it close to the vest. And hey, Ben, what's up? Ben's in the house. Good to see you, Ben. Welcome in. Just kind of wrapping it up a little bit, going over what we talked about. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, again, this is my first live going into a different case. So I appreciate everybody being patient with me, being patient with this, and yeah, if you have any information regarding this case or similar, or with the Jake and oh, thank you, Mustang. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much to my mods, to my chat, everybody in here. Again, everybody's been real cool. We had a little misunderstanding, but water under the bridge. I get over things real quick, especially when they're small and it's a misunderstanding. Stuff happens, but I appreciate Carolina. We got over it. We worked it out. Whatever, it's fine. No worries. But um, yeah, I mean, this was more interesting as more and more I went over it, and yeah, it's pretty interesting with a no body crime conviction. Very much they're saying it's going to be uh, heavy circumstantial evidence. So I mean, what they have evidence, I don't know, but I feel like we're all going to be shocked more because as we saw with this case from the beginning, how this case just kept getting crazier and crazier and wilder and wilder. Yeah, yeah, appreciate that, Ben. Thank you. Yeah. Originally, oh yeah, that's another thing. Todd, thank you for bringing that up too. Originally, I did just want to hit 50 subs. I was like, as long as I have 50 subs, I'm happy. I don't care about anything else other than 50 subs, just so I can go live. Because when I'm there at the courthouse, if I take video or a short, I mean, it's only like 10 seconds or something like that, right? So I can't really fit too much information on it. Then I have to upload it. Then I have to wait, right? Same with a video. I'm taking video, and then I have to wait to upload it. When you're there, the news stations, they take up all the bandwidth. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Welcome in. Appreciate you. Um, they take up all the bandwidth, so that was real frustrating. Trying to make a video, load it up, trying to take a short, load it up, trying to fit all the information on it. And I'm like, dang, I just need 50 subs. I want to go live on that. That way, when I get out, this and that and the other, and you know, I go into allegedly speculating, and I've always talked about this story too. And I go in there, and she's like, "Yeah." I call in, and I'm like, telling her what's going on with the case, And she's like, "Yeah, go sub up to him." I originally thought she only had like 1,400. The way I saw it, because of the screen on my phone, I just thought, well, wow, that's so cool of this channel to do that. Later on, I'm like, dang, she had like 14,000. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, whoa, But I always thought it was just a small channel, just helping out another small channel. And when I found out she had like 14,000 subs, I'm like, dang, like that made it even more appreciative of what she had done too. So I'm always shouting her out. I'm always like giving her kudos and props. And I mean, she's just a sweet person, wonderful person, one of a kind. And there's not enough kind words to say about her. And I always will, and I always will have a special place here in this channel for her, regardless of anything. And yeah, I'm just happy I get to go live and present the information as fresh as I can with only 50 studs. And I told myself after that, I'm like, whatever, if I get 50, 51, 52, great, cool, whatever. I'm not worried about it. I'm not like pushing for it, and I think that's a good thing. It's like, I'm not on that type of agenda where I need subs or I need to hit a marker, things like that. Um, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling that when you feel like 50 subs is enough, you feel like you can relax and you feel like you can take a breather and cover the case how you want to cover the case without even feeling pressure or things like that to try to make certain benchmarks. So I'm just really happy that I get to go live and present the case with everybody, with you. Um, so thank you everybody for joining me, and thank you for my mods. And yeah, just thank you everybody for coming in. Make sure you hit the like, sub, and share. And I'm I'm gonna get ready. I wanted to make this at least an hour live to go over that, and I'm gonna go hiking again. So look out for that notification. I'm gonna go hiking in a little bit. It's just been too hot, so I'll be night hiking a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can go to the beach and do some night hiking. I wanted to go earlier, but it was too hot. But again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Hit the like button, sub, share, and if you'd like to support the channel, there's my Cash App, there's the Venmo. It's not required, but it's always appreciated. Thank you. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you in a little bit on my night hike. Take care. Bye.